Hello and welcome to Healthy Success. I am so excited that you are here, and I'm very excited to introduce you to Chandra Lynn. Chandra Lynn's our first guest today, and Chandra Lynn inspires people to love life. She's the founder of glowliving.com, and she guides people to achieve new levels of emotional health and well-being so they can have deeply fulfilling relationships with themselves and others. She's a San Francisco native and spent the first 25 years of her career as a marketing expert, serving clients such as Apple and Mercedes and Avid and supermodel TV host Tyra Banks and many others. Now she uses her experience and coaching certification from the Robbins Madness Training Center for Strategic Intervention to develop Glow Living, a lifestyle brand and a platform for personal growth and healthy living. Chandra is the creator of the training program Root to Rise, and she is also the co-creator of Own Your Throne, an online women's circle offering nature-based wisdom for empowerment. I am so excited to have this conversation with you, Chandra. Thanks so much for being here.
I'm so honored. Hello, everyone.
Wonderful. So I love this idea of balance because so many of us in this, world of family, career, relationships, all of these things, it's a wild ride out there these days. And I'm curious to know more about your story and your history, where you've come from and how you made this transition from kind of like high-powered marketing expert out there in the business world, rocking it, to really coming into this idea of personal growth and development and well-being for us.
Well, my story actually starts with my grandparents. They were both psychologists. In fact, one of them used to have a suicide intervention hotline coming right into her house, which I now own and have kind of am carrying on their legacy. I think, when I was younger, I wasn't quite ready to embrace that calling. I got a really early start. I got an MBA at 24, and I just felt like I was too young at that time in my life to handle kind of the, just to step into being a therapist. So, and I was also really excited by working in the music industry and with all these awesome companies. I've worked with technology companies, media and so forth, and concert promoters and ticketing agents and all kinds of stuff, and was having a lot of fun with that. But as I matured, let's just say, the personal growth and development calling just got louder and louder. And I decided for my own growth that I was going to put myself through a coaching program. I found an amazing program, the one you mentioned, which is Anthony Robbins and this therapist, Chloe Madonna's, started the strategic intervention program. And the coaches that have come out of that program have become very successful and have just impacted so many people's lives. And I was inspired by them. So I would say that when I went through that program, the amount of growth and abilities that I have to help other people became a driving factor in me adding coaching to my offerings. So I also do executive coaching. So I have created a bridge between my marketing services and my coaching services. And then I was so full of exuberance from that program that all these synapses were firing and dots were crossing and I's were dotted, and I created Root to Rise. It just was kind of birthed out of me as an online course, and I'm currently writing a book version, and I've used it to do workshops, and I'm excited to be able to offer a short exercise to everyone today. So super excited.
Fantastic. Yes, I'm excited to dive into the exercise as well. And I love the Tony Robbins, and I can't remember her first name, but the Madness Training.
Chloe Madonna's.
Yeah, Madonna's. Yeah. Yes, like that. They are truly exceptional. So we are in good hands today. Mm-hmm. And I love this idea of, you have this career and you've gotten into the training and the coaching. How do you feel like people can begin to balance? You call it the root system, but to find balance in their life, because this is most of us are juggling a lot of balls, especially if we're success driven people. We want to be at our best, yet it's really challenging in this day and age. So, what do you mean by balance your root system? And uh, how can we, like, what's our first step to creating a more balanced, whole, healthy, well being oriented life?
Well, I completely agree with you that, it's a time of overwhelm. There's a lot of things to focus on and, plates to spin and balls to juggle. And I think that balance definitely starts within us having and creating consciousness around the areas of our life that are, I would call them, they're kind of like, I've developed these 5 areas of life. They're kind of like overarching umbrella areas that a lot of stuff falls into, but these 5 roots of life is what I call them, because when we look at how to balance our life, we need to look at it as in as simplified of terms, right? We're already overwhelmed. So I basically boiled things down into 5 areas and developed a system to be able to evaluate quickly, which we're going to do today, how each person is doing in those 5 areas so that it can prioritize what to focus on. One of the reasons we get overwhelmed is because everything seems to be competing for our attention. And we sometimes everything just feels important. And so we need our own system for being able to determine what is important and what to spend our energy on. So that's what the Root to Rise system is able to do in the part 1 of the program, which is when you really look at balancing your roots. In the part 2 of the program, it talks about once you have that stable foundation, then you can rise from that and start to reach your goals and create that vision for connecting to a higher purpose.
I love it. And I love this concept that you just talked about. You just mentioned about taking responsibility for our lives and our success, and really reprioritizing things and what is important for us. Because I think so many times we can be like a little bit like a pinball machine, and just kind of like, this is important now and this is important. And it's being determined from the outside versus from within, which is what I hear you're really getting at, is that we get to take responsibility for our success and for our well-being.
Well, and obviously that absolutely 100%. And that leads us to having to uphold healthy boundaries for ourselves. So once we are aware of all these external factors and stressors, and then we start to prioritize them and balance them within ourselves, then our job is to then uphold those boundaries for ourselves with other people. So being able to connect with our own, what's authentic and true to ourselves is part of that process. And that's why I offered the mini course for free that I offered, Connecting to Authenticity. It's one small part of the Root to Rise course, but it's really important for being able to communicate from our hearts out to the people in our lives what's true for us and how to be able to uphold those healthy boundaries so that we can have chance in hell of balancing our life, which means that we will show up better for them ultimately.
Yeah, this is amazing. I actually had no boundary setting skills whatsoever when I was younger. That was a piece I missed from, childhood training. And I think many of us have kind of missed that. We've become, many of us are people pleasers, or we don't want to rock the boat, things like this. And not everybody. Some people are very good at it. And if you are, go, go, go. But some of us have challenges around setting boundaries. One thing I found that I learned that was a huge life changer for me was that setting boundaries is actually helping us love other people more and serve other people more and connect with other people more. Because when we don't set the boundaries, we actually end up putting up walls of protection and that keep us out of our authenticity and out of connection. And I'm curious, in your work with your clients, around boundary setting, do you have any clues for people who do have challenges speaking up and setting those boundaries, how they can take another step forward in that?
Yeah, I mean, I that's why I start from within to figuring out our own priorities, because sometimes the reason why we can agree to things is because we don't really have our own North Star going on. So if somebody says, let's go east or let's go west, we're like, okay, sure, because we don't really have our own, clear direction. So we're just kind of going along with it and we'll see how it goes kind of thing. For people who are really, really clear about what they're wanting to accomplish and what their purpose is for that, they're usually not as swayed by other people's demands or expectations. They can usually uphold, their truth a little bit better. So if they're feeling like they're giving in, a lot to other people's stuff, it may be that they just have to get more clear on what it is that, they're wanting to achieve and what support they actually need to then go and ask for, instead of just helping other people. Because I agree with you. I mean, I'm a very amiable person. I love, to make people happy. I'm very service oriented. I have all of those things. And, because of that, I think sometimes I will go along with things until they're just not okay anymore, and I don't want it to get to that point. It's not fair to them that I'm the one being permissive, and then get mad about it. So I think that it's being clear within yourself first, and it's okay to say yes and go along with things when that's true to you. But if it's not, and you're just doing it to people please, but you're going to maybe have resentments later, that's when to be honest with yourself and uphold that boundary to say no. Mm-hmm. Or not right now. It could literally, that's the one key thing that I learned actually from parenting, because I'm a single mom, is, you don't want to be that mom that says no to everything, everything the kid asks for. So his nanny, when I was working from home, I brought in a nanny while he was a baby, and she taught me, you just say not right now, or it's not time for that right now. So it is a no, but it's like a more gentle way of saying that you're not totally shutting them down. You'll consider it for the future, or when the time is better. Mm-hmm. And it can feel a lot better than just saying no to someone.
I love that. Yeah. And also remember, a no in one area gives us a bigger yes in the area of your North Star, right? That yes. It's a different way to look at it. The no also means yes to something else.
I love that. Absolutely. That's so key. And I think that, so what is that North Star? And what Root to Rise does is it helps you identify that. So when it goes into the taproot of what really is nourishing you and feeding your soul. This is Cleo. It's one of the things that does for me. And then and then on the rise, what you want to be known for, and what is your legacy that you want to leave behind, and what is this higher purpose. Root to Rise is about that saying about as above, so below. We have kind of a mirror going on. So we want to look at what deeply nourishes us is similar to what really drives us in terms of what we want to achieve and be known for.
Absolutely. And kind of this stems into my next question, because you talk a lot about like our human psychological needs and Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So how does this tie in to finding our North Star and creating this root system for ourselves?
I'm so glad that you asked that question, because once we've done this process of understanding kind of where we're at with our root system, I apply human needs psychology to it in the Root to Rise course. So we can start to look at how we're making decision, or what's driving our decision making. And that's usually based on needs that are getting met, right, through doing it. It can be positive or negative, but if we have some kind of behavior, it could be for the positive, or it could actually, be a low level way of getting a need met. So, like eating too much, for example, we are getting needs met when we eat too much. There's lots of reasons why, it can comfort us. It feels nourished, like we're nourishing ourselves, even when we go a little overboard. So we may be meeting a need, but it may not be in a healthy way. So what Root to Rise does is it applies the 6 human needs. I've adapted them a bit from the Anthony Robbins, Chloe Madonna's program, which adapted from Maslow, but it's all kind of around basically saying the same thing, which is we as human beings, all human beings have these 6 human needs, and they drive our decision making. And when we are aware of how we're meeting them in healthy and unhealthy ways, we can put true change into effect to create a better life. And that's something that my process illuminates and can give like really clear action items on how to change behavior that's serving a need, but in an unhealthy way, to finding a way to serve that same need in a healthy way. So that's the premise of that part of the program.
That's awesome. And I want to just put a little real life example on this for some people. And how we can be more conscious of our actions, even small things. Because, for example, this was several years ago, but I found myself like on social media, right? I was on Facebook and I'm like, why am I still here, right? Like, what is this? Why am I scrolling right now? And because I could be doing something else. Like, I knew I could be meditating. I could be, taking care. I love my plants. Like, I could be repotting a plant. I could be doing something else that maybe was more meaningful, more productive. In any case, I realized that what I was wanting was connection. And the reason that social media oftentimes can be addictive for people is because I realized it was such a low grade level of connection. And yes, I was connecting with some people, but it was such a low grade level of connection that it was never going to fulfill my actual desire for community and connection. So I would just keep going down the path, though, more and more, just try to get that feeling. So once I realized this, I was like, okay, I stopped. I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I just get curious. Why am I doing this? And then I'm like, okay, I want to feel connected. All right, now I get to go and look, and I've opened the door to a new opportunity to look at how I can truly feel connected versus this kind of artificial social media connection. And boom, like, I was done with the whole, Facebook nonstop scrolling. And for me, it wasn't, I was on there for maybe a half an hour, but that can very quickly tumble into hours for some folks. And this could be around food, it could be around social media. And if we are success-driven people and we want to be, whether that's parenting or your work or whatever, it's like, are we getting those human needs met at a low level that's not truly regenerative? It's not truly feeding our soul and our North Star. So I invite us all to get a little more curious about our habits and step out of our own box, our own fishbowl, and kind of look in. And is this truly getting us what we want? Which is going to be great, because we're going to be doing some exercises right now with Chandra.
Well, I want to thank you for sharing that, because that is a really great example of when you have a driving need. Connection is one of the 6 human needs, and you're meeting it at a low level. Now, low level in my scale, because my scale is from 1 to 10, is 5, and 5 is just like, it's okay, right? So anything below that. And you had the awareness to say, wow, this is really only meeting my needs at a low level. First of all, you recognize which need it even was. So that was awesome. And then you were able to see, and the way I'm trying to meet it is very low level. And then the third thing is going, okay, well, what are the better ways of connecting? So did you call a friend or ask a friend to go on a walk, or what did you do to fulfill that need for connection in a more healthy way?
I think first it's the connection with myself. So going back into more of my meditation and mindfulness, but also actually creating experiences with the people I love, right? And creating either if it's on the phone or Zoom, things like that we have now, but actually going out and having real authentic conversation and authentic connection with the people I love most.
So imagine being able to do that across all of your root system. The root system, and I put it up here, are your health and fitness, your relationship, if you're in one, or your relationship to yourself, if you're single, in that area, how your needs met, your career, your family, and your friends. Now, we know a lot falls under that. It's very hard to just come up with a really general number, but as you get really good at doing this, you'll find a number just pops in your head, and that's your intuition, answering. And so as far as the exercise goes, what I would love everybody to do is, if you would like to pause this video and download and print out the PDF that we put it's in the chat, right, Emily?
It'll be in the description, right next to the video.
You can or you can just grab a piece of paper. You don't need my printout, but I'm offering it as a kind of a way to have a visual, a guidebook for you, worksheet. I mean, for you to play along, make it more fun. So what you'll see is basically a root system. So say here's the trunk, and then you have root 1, root 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So the idea is that you want to start with number 1, health, and assign a 1 to 10 scale to it. Now, I always say the goal is to live an 8, 9, 10 life. The Root to Rise goal is to live an 8, 9, 10 life. Anything below that, it's not necessarily bad. It's just we need to be awareness that there are actually ways to increase that number if you put some energy into it. So if you want to play along with this exercise, let's say this first root is health. Okay, I'm going to play along with you, and I'm going to be vulnerable and tell you what my numbers are to inspire you. So right now, you guys don't know this, but I am positive for COVID. So that's why my voice sounds weird, but I'm, you guys are so important to me. I did not want to skip this. So I would say that I'm very optimistic about getting better. I've been doing some healing meditations and taking really great care of myself. So I would say that because I have COVID, I'm at like a 4. Okay. So I would draw my root. Let's just say, of course the pen isn't working. I would draw my root. Here's a 10. And here's a 1. Okay. So I'm going to draw my health root at a 4, because here's about 5. Okay, so I'm at a 4 for health. Hopefully by this weekend, I'll be a lot higher. And for health, I want you to write down one thing that you know you can do to increase that number, right?
Okay, so first we're going to find our number.
First, right. You're going to find your number from 1 to 10 for health. Gut instinct right now, what is it? Mm-hmm. Okay. I know we can get very analytical and we can be like, well, I'm feeling pretty, like I'm not sick, but I wish I could lose 10 pounds, or we can start to get analytical. So if you have a goal of wanting to lose 10 pounds and you're not at a 10, you're healthy, but you can optimize a little bit. So maybe you're more like at an 8, you have a room for improvement type of thing. But still, that's great, right? So you be honest with yourself, with this, because you're the only one that matters. Nobody else cares. Believe me, I wish I wasn't at a 4 today, but that's where we are. And, and I have to be authentic. So after you've assigned your number, I want you to write down one thing that you think you could do, that you're empowered to do to boost that number. Mm-hmm. So for me, I know that what I have to do is get back in bed after this and rest. So that's something I know I'm empowered to do to heal myself, right? So in my notes, I would write, sleep the rest of the day or something. Like I'd have to have a very specific thing. If I want it to be a little bit longer term, it may be like use food as medicine. Really be conscious of what I put in my body, make sure that the food I'm feeding myself, has nutritive value, that I'm, staying away from inflammatory foods. I'm using, foods that help with inflammation, all of that kind of stuff, but what we know about health. So come up with one thing you can do to get this number to increase for you. And if you're at a 10, congratulations. Most people, have we're personal growth and development people here, right? That means that we strive to be better. We always, can see that there's a next level. Give yourself some props. Don't go too low in your number, but know that there's always room to improve, and that's totally acceptable. So if you have your number, then I'm going to move on to the next root. So relationship. I would say my relationship right now is probably at like a 7. I got COVID from attending a trade show, so I haven't seen my partner in a while, and I'm quarantining alone. So that's another 5 days. So it's definitely not an 8, 9, 10 because we haven't been able to spend any time together. So it's been taken up by my career route and my health route, right? Those have had my focus. So my relationship route is suffering a little bit because of that, but luckily there's foundation there, and it's still above a 5. Okay. So what can I do to increase that number? So first, start by putting your number down for your relationship. And if it's with yourself, extremely important. Our number one relationship is with ourselves. With this exercise, you could even put both. If you have both, you could do a self route and a relationship route with somebody else. Because sometimes we can treat other people better than we can ourselves, right? We may find that our self love is low, but we still can show a lot of love and caring for our partners. So then that gives us kind of an awareness that we can start to work on our own self-love. So once you have your number, what is one thing you can do to improve that? So for me, the only thing I can really do right now is to, after I've rested my voice, to give them a call and have a little bit of quality time on the phone. So that's the best that I can do right now. Okay. So what's the best you can do right now to get this number up? Ideally closer to the 8, 9, 10 range. So you guys are getting this now, right? Right, Emily?
Yes.
That your number?
I'm with you. I'm doing mine too, y'all. So get your papers out.
Career, same thing. Now, I just came off of a trade show where I was able to speak to a lot of people. I hosted an event. Of course, COVID was the sacrifice, but otherwise for my career, it was fantastic. I gained a lot of exposure, some new clients, got paid for my time. So I feel like, we're like in a 9 area on that. Okay. What's the one thing I can do to even get that to be better? Follow up with everyone, even from my bed, I can email. So, I can follow up with everybody, let them know how great it was to catch COVID from them. No, just kidding. To see them and, come up with some next steps for how we can work together and help each other's success. So what would be the one thing you could do for your career that would increase that number? Okay, so then let's move on to family. It's hard to write on the side. Let's see, my family, I'd say is about at a 6, because again, my career route and my health route are keeping me from my family. So there's a lot of time I need to spend with them when I'm in recovery and out of quarantine. So what can I do to increase that number? I can, maybe even write them written cards, or, saying I love them, I miss them, thinking of you. I can email, I can call. Some examples for family, or I can plan a family get together for the future. So even though I'm not well now and don't want to see them, I may want to, plan something for a couple of weeks from now and make it fun. So your family route, what number are you there? And what is the one thing that you can do to make that number higher? And the last thing is friends. Now, for me, my friends are so important because my friends have seen jobs come and go. They've seen my relationships come and go. They've seen me move to different homes. They've gone through a lot with me and bore witness to me and supported me through so much. So I really highly prioritize my friends. I do have a lot of different friend groups and sister circle and some things. So I don't want to always leave them to the last route. I want to really love and support them because they're there for me, through all of it. So what is the number that you would give your friend group? How much fulfillment you have? Excuse me, having friends. Let's see, it's a tough one. I'm going to put mine at a 6 again. It's kind of similar to family, just haven't had enough time for them, but know that love and support is there. We have some text strings going right now, and they're checking in on me and asking to do door drops if I need anything. It's a beautiful thing. So I would say that I need to do the same thing, which is plan a gathering for when I'm better, reach out to them, make sure they know I love and care about them, and can't wait to see them. So those are some ideas of things that I can do to get this number higher. Cause I know once I spend more time with friends or once I hear from them, my numbers go up and I feel so much more fulfilled. So if you have your number and you've written down one thing that you can do for this, what I usually do is look at it as a whole. Okay. And this in itself gives me the priority that I should be focusing on. Right now, 4 in health has to be dealt with, because if I don't increase that number, I'm not going to have as much to give in these other areas. It's just, I'm not going to have any time with my friends and family because I'm going to be sick. My career route is going to start to shrink up or something because, I won't be able to work. I'm barely holding it down. So health is number 1. That helps me see where my priorities are. When I'm completely overwhelmed with all the demands of my career, my relationship, my family, I got a kid, and I know that my North Star right now is to focus on my health. Doesn't that help you? Can you see how that can help you with upholding boundaries around your own health going forward in this scenario, my scenario? So for you, it could be in a different area. It could be that, it could be anything, honestly, any one of these routes. And they change all the time. So what I would suggest is that you take those 5 things, and maybe you came up with more, but at least those 5 things that you can do to increase these numbers, and put a date for when you think you're going to have it finished by. Just be honest with yourself. It may be tomorrow, it may be a week, it may be a month, but give yourself a date that you feel is reasonable for accomplishing that. And put it into your phone as a calendar item to reassess your root system, the number system, right? And be honest with yourself. Did you do it, and did these numbers improve? Because if you have a win with this and you see that you are empowered to increase these numbers, your entire life is going to improve. I mean, this system works. The next step to this, if we were to go through another exercise, would be to talk about why these numbers are low, look at the needs, the human needs we talked about, how you've been serving them, what decisions you've been making around them, seeing where there might be patterns or particular challenges, and then troubleshooting from there. And so that's the power of the Root to Rise program, is you're able to do that. And when you are at an, even like 7, 8, 9, 10 level, you've got a strong foundation to start to focus on all your goals and aspirations to be able to grow that tree to its fullest potential. Because if your roots are too short, you can't expect a tree to be able to rise to its fullest potential. That you, as the metaphor of the tree, are going to, as above, so below. Your branches are going to stay short. Your roots are going to stay short. As your roots are long and strong and reaching 8, 9, 10 levels, so will your branches reaching for the things that you want to accomplish in life. And so we want to start in the roots, create that stable, secure, strong foundation so that you can have these expectations for yourself that are reasonable and doable, and that you can actually make it happen. That's the power of the Root to Rise system. A lot of people, especially in midlife, get to a point where they're like, it can be a dark night of the soul. Like, why aren't I where I thought I would be by now? And it's because we put lots of expectations on ourselves to accomplish and rise to things without knowing how to build a solid foundation first to rise from. So I always take everybody back to the roots. It's dirty, mucky, ugly in there sometimes, but let's unblock those roots, nourish them properly, and then rise.
That's so beautiful. Yeah, so beautiful. And I have a story, and then we're gonna wrap it here. But I have an orange tree in my backyard. I'm blessed to have an orange tree in my backyard. but it abuts with our neighbor's property, and it's actually a wall. So the earth is at two different levels. So this is my yard, and this is my neighbor's down here, and there's a wall. And I have an orange tree that's planted right here, and it's doing well. One year we had a lot of rain, and then it's a full grown, like big orange tree. The entire orange tree fell over. Because why? Because its root system was out of balance, right? And that rain just took it down. Luckily, we were able to prop her back up, and she's all healthy and good. But that tree will always be out of balance because one of its a quarter of its root system isn't being planted properly, basically. So this is also us. And Chandra, you've given us such a beautiful visual of how to balance this, and just seeing it on paper sometimes can really help. And I want you to imagine your own self as my orange tree. And if you're that out of balance, eventually things are going to fall down. Or we're going to be living our best, successful, authentic life. So thank you for sharing that with us. And I want to share kind of your gifts with the audience, because you have two amazing gifts that are really going to help us move forward out of this interview into the next steps. So the free gift we have for everybody is Connecting to Authenticity, the Connecting to Authenticity mini course. Can you just give us a quick synopsis of what they're getting there?
It's kind of like this in terms of being an exercise, and the exercise is to so it's another metaphor. Glow Living's logo is kind of like a diamond heart. And the idea is that all these different facets of the diamond are really reflective of our different sides of ourselves. We're complex beings, right? We're multifaceted diamonds. And so the idea behind connecting to authenticity is to be able to own all of yourself, all those different facets, and be able to determine which facets to put in the sun, depending on who you're speaking with, and which parts you keep in the shadows based on, what's true to you in that relationship. And so it's owning all of you, but also being able to, shine your diamond out in appropriate ways, but in ways that are super authentic. This whole thing shows up a lot in career, because there's a lot of times we enter a career thinking that this is what we should do, and we may not be always entirely authentic to ourselves about what we want to do. For example, some people are very creative and, would really desire a career in the arts, music or the arts, but they were raised in a culture where they need to be a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. And I just lost connection. So
no, we got you.
Okay, I lost my visual on you, so let me bring it back. There we go. Apologies. And so the idea is that it's putting away those shoulds, connecting with authenticity, and stepping fully into who you are, being able to face all that stuff through that exercise.
Fantastic. So I'm definitely be downloading your free gift. And I invite all of you all to download the free gift. And as well, Chandra has given us an amazing donation into our Power Package, which, as you all know, the Power Package proceeds are going to support the Food Empowerment Project, so that we can all be getting access to healthy, whole foods, and that our food system is supporting us as individuals as well as a community. And in the Power Package, Chandra is giving us the Root to Rise online course bundle. So if you have been loving what we have been exploring in this interview, you get a really amazing deal. The value of this course is $298. And when you grab the Power Package today, you get access to that, as well as many other gifts from our speakers. So I love this Root to Rise metaphor. Obviously, I got my own tree in my backyard living it. And I am so excited for us all to be living our most authentic, most successful, most healthy lives, because we need people like us, really rising growing our roots and rising in this world to create more health, more vitality, more connection on this planet, so that we can all thrive, right? When we thrive, the planet thrives, and we need all of us rising to our highest level of tree. So thank you so much, Chandra, for being here and sharing your wisdom and your expertise with us. It has been such an enlightening interview, and I encourage all of you to write down your date and do your action steps.
Thank you for having me. You know, to close, I do want to let everybody know, you've had a little bit of look at this. It's based on nature-based wisdom, which means it's open to everybody. This is a system that I designed to be totally 100% inclusive. And so I just want you to know that it's all based on, yoga philosophies, nature wisdom, things that we can see in nature, like the tree metaphor. And that I hope that resonates with everybody, and that you're interested in checking it out in a little bit more detail, because it has truly transformed people's lives. At least that's what I've been told. So I have lots of testimonials. And if you go to the glowliving.com website, you can watch people hear about it in their own words, because it is very impactful. And it just, is a gift that I want to offer the world, and hopefully it'll be part of my legacy.
So
thank
beautiful.
You for having me, Emily, and everybody. Thank you for your attention. And next time I talk with you, I will be COVID free, and I'll love to hear from you.
Thank you so much for being here. Chandra Lynn, thank you so much.
Thank you.